Hey, what's up guys, how you all doing? I'm Paul the Tech Giant and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm going to be unboxing and testing out this Samsung Q930F soundbar with rear speakers and sub. Now recently I tested out a similar system, the Samsung Q990F, which is an 11.1.4 channel system, but comes in at about £500 more. And that was the best soundbar package that I've tested to date. But this Q930F is a 9.1.4 system and comes in at around £500 less. So it'll be interesting to see how well it fares against its bigger brother. Now I just quickly want to say a massive thanks to UK electrical retailer Peter Tyson, who are kind enough to send over this soundbar for testing. Now Peter Tyson have got a massive range of soundbars to choose from entry level right up to high end. But if we take this one for example, you're going to be safe in the knowledge knowing that you're going to get yourself free delivery, they have finance options available, they can offer in-store demos, and probably the best prices around. And if you find that they're not, they will aim to price match all the major competitors. And to top it all off, and what I think is very important, they have great customer service. And this is all reflected by the amazing reviews left by satisfied customers on Trustpilot. So if you are on the market for a soundbar, then please consider making that soundbar purchase from Peter Tyson. Okie dokie, let's crack on then, and first off we're going to take a quick look around the outside of the box. So as we can see, this is the Samsung Q930F soundbar. Moving to the top of the box and we can see it says Dolby Atmos, DTS:X and HDMI. Moving across from that we can see it says works with Apple AirPlay, works with Google Cast and Spotify. Right, let's now get this box open and let's break that seal. And first off, as we can see, we are presented with the soundbar there. As you can see, the next layer is all nicely presented there, all well packaged. So we've got a box of bits there going on and looks like our sub there. And then I guess that is our speakers. Right, let's now unbox the speakers and accessories and see what we are dealing with. So these are the rear surrounds to start with. Obviously, we've got a pair of these and there we go. So obviously on the top, we are going to have our upwards foreign speaker because this is an Atmos system. Moving around the back and we can see we've got a ID set button there and standby link. Moving to the bottom of the speaker and we have a connection there for our power cable, and I do like the way that it's actually recessed out there so the cable will sit in there neat and tidy, and also we've got 4 little rubber feet so it's not going to damage anything that you put it down on. Overall, not a bad looking speaker. It's in like a dark brush grey there on the sides and then the grey plastic mesh on the front with the Samsung logo. Overall, not a bad design. Next up we have the sub. So let's see what this is like. And there she blows. So on the front of this we can see we've got a Samsung logo going on, and you may notice that this is actually black where the speakers, as I just said, are grey. Even though they are dark grey, we can see a difference going on there. One thing I do like about this, we've got subs either side. So yeah, but one downside is that they are not protected. So if you've got maybe small children, they could potentially get damaged. So you may have to be a bit careful with those. Moving around to the back, and again, we've got link there, standby and an ID set button, and of course another connection there for our power cable. Moving to the bottom of the sub, and not much going on here, just some rubber feet again, so it will grip nicely your floor and shouldn't cause any damage. Next we come to our accessory box, so let's get this open, and in here we have some instructions there. Then we have a few power cables, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously we're going to have 2 for each of the rear surrounds, 1 for the sub and 1 for the soundbar itself. Next up, and we have some little brackets there. Next up, and we have a little sticky pad there and some AAA batteries, and that is for our remote control. Now this does look very nice indeed. It is plastic, but we've got a nice brushed black effect going on there. Samsung logo on the bottom. Quite small in the hand. We've only got a small amount of buttons on here, which I'll go through in just a minute. But overall, yeah, it's a nice remote control. Finally, we come to the star of the show, and that is the soundbar. So let's remove this cover, and there we go. Looks very nice indeed, and as you can see, it's finished in the dark grey, just like the rear surrounds. And at the side, we've got this more open mesh going on, and more tighter grey mesh on the top. Again, all plastic. So starting off on the left-hand side, we've got a Samsung logo there, and then a QR code for the SmartThings app. Moving to the centre of the soundbar, and we can see we've got some buttons going on here. Got a little protective film on that, so let's peel that away. And flipping the soundbar over, and we can see we've got a connection there for our power cable. Moving to the centre, and we've got a USB-A port, and that is marked up for service. Moving along from that, and we come to our connections, which are just recessed in there, which are marked up for digital audio in, and that is optical, then HDMI, and then HDMI to TV, eARC/ARC. Right, let's now move on and get this system set up. And if you are new to this sort of thing, then don't worry. Trust me, it is dead simple to get up and running. So first off, let's talk about power cables. Now, a lot of people think that these wireless systems don't need any cables at all, but no, they just don't require speaker cables to transmit the sound. But we do, of course, need something to power those speakers. So as I showed you earlier, we have 4 power cables in total. 2 of those are 155 centimeters in length, and the other 2 are 295 centimeters. So what I've done, I've gone on ahead and taken one of those power cables, hooked it up to the back of the soundbar and plugged the other end into the mains power supply. And then I've plugged in an HDMI cable to the eARC/ARC port on the soundbar. And then I've plugged the other end of the HDMI cable into my TV's HDMI eARC/ARC port. And if we now grab our remote control and press on the power button, we should see a little display lighting up saying on, so that is all good to go. Next up, we're going to connect up the sub. So with the soundbar powered on, all we do is connect up another power cable to the main supply and the other end into the back of the sub. And we should get a blinking light, and any second that should go solid. And there we go, it is now paired up to the soundbar. Let's now move on to the surround speakers, and it's worth pointing out that they are marked up. So we do have surround speaker right, and we also have surround speaker left. I've gone ahead and plugged in this surround left, and if I turn on the power for that speaker, you should get a light again flashing, and now it's gone solid, which means it's now paired up to the soundbar. Then all you have to do is to repeat the process for the rear surround speaker. Now, a quick top tip for you guys: if for some reason the sub or rear surrounds fail to pair up to the soundbar, what you can do is hold down on the ID set button for around 5 seconds on the sub or rear surrounds, and then that should pair it up to the soundbar. But if that fails, what you can do is grab your remote control, hold down on the up button for a few seconds, and then it should come up saying ID set, just like so, and then they should pair up. Right, now that we got the system all set up, let's see how we can control it. So first off, we got the most basic functions, which are the buttons on top of the soundbar itself. So if you put up and down there on the volume, it will go up and down on the display, but you don't want to use those. Those are for losers who lose the remote control. Now, talking of remote controls, I've got the remote for the TV, and because it is connected up to the soundbar via the eARC port, we can control the sound of the soundbar with the remote, which is very handy. We can see it going up and down on the TV and also on the display like so. Now, the other great thing is if I get up the menu for the TV sound settings, you can see that it is automatically detected that it has got the soundbar connected to it. And if I grab the remote control for the soundbar and I turn it off, that'll go back to playing out of the TV speakers. But if I turn the soundbar back on again, you'll see that it will pop up in the corner, Samsung soundbar. Now, it's all well and good being able to do the basic functions with the TV's remote, but the soundbar's remote can do far more. So if we go in a little bit closer, we can see if we press this button just here, we can change things like the volume level of the different speakers. So we've got the center channel there. So yeah, we can really fine tune it to get the sound that we want from where we are sitting. Then we've got a settings button and tone control, so we can do the treble there and bass. Now just moving up from that, and if we press down on the woofer button, we can control the volume on just the sub. So that's nice that we got that function. Up again, and we have our sound modes. So we've got things like Gain Pro, Standard, Adaptive Sound. Now of course we've also got buttons there for mute, and then we've got an information button which will tell us what is going on. Then we've got our directional pad just there. We've got our play pause button, and then inputs. Then we have a pair button, and of course our power on and off. Now what I think is the best method of controlling the soundbar is with the Samsung SmartThings app. Now on the top of the soundbar there is a QR code that you can scan. Once you've done that, sign in or set up an account, and then you can control the soundbar using your phone. Now this makes it far easier than using the small display on the soundbar. So on here we can control things like the volume, let's turn that up. Then we've got things like our sound modes there, which again, it's just far easier to see those all displayed out, that you're not having to go through all the little menus on the screen there. So back out of that, and then across from that, and we have the equalizer, so you can fine tune the sound to your personal preference. Now moving down from that, we've got some different modes there. Space Fit Sound Pro, Active Voice Amplifier Pro, Surround Speaker Setup there as well, and then control for the subs. Then we have Advanced Sound Settings, so again different modes there we can toggle on or off, and then we have the channel level. So once again this is far easier to do on your phone, because on the soundbar you have to toggle through each one of those different speakers to get to the one that you want, where on here you can simply jump to say rear, slide that up, and you're good to go. And then finally at the bottom we've got audio sync and voice guide. Right, now that we've got all the boring stuff out of the way, it's time to test out what this system sounds like. So we're going to test out some movies and music, but as always you're not going to be able to get the full experience when listening back through your speakers at home. So after the testing I'll give you my opinion on what I felt it sounds like. So let's first start off then with some movies.
Bay 12, please. Express elevator to hell. Going down.
So you come in this. Looks like your small arms fire.
Look, I'm telling you, there's something moving and it ain't us.
I want you to lay down a suppressing fire.
Come with me if you want to live. Let me try mine.
I don't know how much longer I can hold this.
So, what did I think about that? Well, gotta be honest with you, I'm really disappointed because I don't actually own one of these systems. Fair play, Samsung has done it once again. That sounded great. Now, as you would have heard, this system goes very loud indeed, and that wasn't me even turning it up all the way. So for the average living room, I'd say the volume is more than enough. Now, when it comes to the soundbar, I was very impressed. Now, quite often with soundbars, the sound isn't very wide with them. But with this, it did sound very wide indeed, almost to the point of having separate left and right and centre speakers, so definitely sounded far wider than you'd imagined it would be. Also, dialogue was nice and clear, and that's what you're going to want, because there's nothing worse when you get a soundbar and somewhere like this, where you get all the action, but you can't hear what actors or actresses are actually saying. But with this soundbar, that was not an issue at all. Now, obviously this system as well comes with the rear speakers, and that makes a massive difference. It widens out the soundstage no end. You get all the effects behind you, and of course being Atmos, we get the height as well. And all this was super impressive. But the thing that stood out to me the most was the sub. It is so well integrated. Now, I do have one gripe, and that is that I've tested this system out for some time now, and when playing back movies and TV shows, after say about a couple of hours, I did notice I'd get maybe 2 or 3 audio dropouts. Now, this would only last a split second and come back on again, but it was a little bit annoying. But I'm unsure if that was due to the TV or the soundbar. And if it was the soundbar, it could just be an isolated case with this particular unit. But overall, for movies and TV shows, this system is top notch. Right, now that we've demoed some movies, I think it's about time that we test out some music. So, what are my thoughts on the music side of things? Well, again, gotta be honest, wasn't so impressed this time around. Don't get me wrong, it isn't a complete fail, but it certainly doesn't live up to the standards for when it comes to playing back movies. Again, as you would have heard, it goes nice and loud. Certainly enough to annoy the neighbours, but other areas did let it down this time. So the bass, again, very bassy indeed, but it just didn't sound so well controlled when playing back music. I think it seemed to struggle a bit with keeping up with the mids, and this is where a dedicated amplifier and speakers do a far better job. And it was the same with the previous Samsung soundbar that I tested, which was the best soundbar that I tested to date when it comes to movies. But again, with the music with that, it was a similar story. That said, I did recently test out a Hisense system, and that was very impressive when it comes to playing back music. And if you want to see that video, then I'll put a link to it in the description. So what are my final thoughts? Well, overall, it is a very good system if you are looking to play back movies and TV shows. I certainly can't see near enough a £500 difference between this and its bigger brother. So if you haven't got the funds to go up to the next level, I wouldn't worry about it. You are not missing out on a great deal. So there we have it then, guys. Now do us a favour, and if you have enjoyed today's video, then please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future, and hopefully I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Bye for now.